VG Mobster,
Yo,
musician, YouTuber, gamer. so, what did you want to? How did you want to start off? Did you want to just give like a introduction about who you are as a
yeah,
person, or
whatever
okay,
your show, man. But whatever,
okay,
I'll give you the intro.
okay,
VG Mobster.
hmm
I've been gaming since I was 5 years old. Uh,
okay,
I love video games. It's not only just for my own pleasure, but like I've met so many friends through it. It's
all right,
helped me through a lot of hard times in my
correct,
life. Well, just gives me a lot of peace and calm when I really need it most.
hmm
And I just see like so many benefits to it. Outweigh the negatives everybody always talks about. Um,
correct,
so that's why like honestly like my main thing is like when I joined the community, I was really just looking for the community. You know what I'm saying? Like
okay,
wanted other people who were into video games, like stuff, and then I just kind of like found a lot of other creators that I thought were really good, and I was like, "Oh, give it a shot," and then I gave it a shot. I'm gonna jump back in, but then I found my other passion, which is music, and then I found
all
TJ
right,
from Master Sword, and I've been doing a lot of stuff with him, and that's opened up a lot of new like connections and things too. So between like video games and music, just kind of stuff that like, always was near and dear to me. Um,
okay,
Found like a lot of other like-minded people, and I just love the community. I feel like that's my driving force, and then through that I've met like a lot of other pretty popular creators too. um
okay,
Develop friendships with them, and it's a really awesome community. And like I feel for me especially, I
hmm
feel a lot of times like there's so much negativity towards like social media, stuff like that. But like I feel like
okay,
especially, as a father of two, I feel like social media is really awesome for me. And then especially during COVID, when COVID was there, like those guys like really helped me get through um
okay.
all that isolation, and like we couldn't really like talk with people, and then I just kind of like continued it through that. And then like just a lot of the connections that I've met, and then a lot of people too, like through too many games, like I've actually met a lot of people like in person, that can
Okay.
either my videos or through like my Twitter feed, or then the music project that we've done. Like I've just met people in person, um and that's what keeps me going, man. It's just like the connections with the community. Like I feel like it's so important to me, and like those guys are really important to me now. Like I consider them like real friends. I've met a lot of them.
Yeah, friends or like your second family. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
that's
like
what's up.
to me, like I just feel like, yeah, I just feel like that. I think
Hey,
that's
thousand
that's
star.
you know, um,
Yeah,
unity. You know what I'm saying? Like I really so many good people out there that I can shout out, and I feel that just like going, because like and then too, like when I was growing up, like I feel like playing video games a lot was kind of like taboo. But luckily, like when I was a kid, I found people that also like to do it. So to me, it wasn't taboo. Like that's like what me and my friends did. Like like
same here.
we would just
Yeah,
full 4-player N64 like all the time, and
yeah,
do like other stuff too. We still like play baseball and basketball and whatever, but like that was things that we like to do.
yeah. Gaming. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you on
I
that.
never like when I was a kid, I never really understood why it was so taboo. I'm like, I would have never developed half of the relationships I had, like, or like maybe not even started them, but like continued them and made them grow without like adding some sort of video game element in it. So to me,
Okay,
like why I kept going with it. And I was like, this is a great community. And it was just nice to find other people that were like kind of in that niche as well. Um,
correct.
and not be like taboo. This is what they like to do too. So we're all like in the same kind of niche, which is nice.
Okay, yeah, that's good, man. Yeah, gaming. Yeah, I did it since I was early too. Gaming, man. I think I was what, six or no, I say seven, seven. Yeah, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, and then I'm still gaming now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it
Switch,
switch up
PlayStation.
back, Switch
Yeah.
really like because especially like with me, I always tell people this like with Switch, like I'm a dad of two, and like a lot
Right.
of kids either like take the TV or like I'm running to like their swim practice or recital or
Right.
sporting thing or whatever, and like and then like at that time before I was working remote, like I was going into the office and stuff, so like it just gave me more flexibility and versatility to like put in that
Right.
like 25 minutes that I like wouldn't have had.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
me, that was important to me, and I think like
Okay.
and then it was good that my daughters saw me doing it, and they like to play. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
well,
You know,
you're a kid, this is the time to play. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah, my cousins got into gaming thanks to me. Yeah, so yeah, gaming is kind of a, I guess you could say, a family thing. Except for like a
Bro,
few of my cousins that didn't get into it, but some of them did due to me. So yeah, definitely, man, I agree. So my question I wanted to ask you, did you come across Master Sword? I want to say I might be wrong, I might be right, through Twitter or through like another form of social media.
Twitter.
Twitter.
I
Okay.
I saw I saw a Switch bit at PJ originally
Okay.
doing the like Final Fantasy battles or whatever
Yeah.
series. And
Mm-hmm.
when I was growing up, I did hip hop a lot. Like
Okay.
I grew up in right out the New Rochelle suburb of the like New York City, and
Okay.
I always like I just grew up with hip hop. Like that was a big thing to me. And then
Yeah.
college, like I played with the band, but it was kind of like a funk hip hop kind of
Okay.
group.
Right.
Um, so like it was cool. I saw those guys kind of doing those like battles, and I was like, "Yo, this is kind of dope." Like, I
Yeah.
aiming and this. So then what I did, I was doing a series for my channel. It was going to be called Taking It Back, and it was
Okay.
gonna be like throwback reviews. And I asked Switchbit and TJ because I saw them together. I
Mm-hmm.
was, yo, why don't you guys like jump on this track with me? It's called Taking It Back.
All
And
right.
did the song, and I was going to use it as my theme song throughout the series. And then I was like, okay, that's cool. Like I got to do one thing.
Okay.
That's cool. And then after that,
Mm-hmm.
she asked me to do something. And then TJ was like, yeah, I want to like expand and get like more artists on the Master Sword music. And I did like a couple features with him. Um, and then I just realized I was like, dude, me and him like really click.
Yeah. Yeah.
Click. Yeah, I mean, he's done like, oh, I mean, like, again, maybe I'm biased, but like, the songs that we've done together, like me and him, I
Mm-hmm.
out really well. And then I was just like, and then like, he was like, oh, why don't you jump on like this group project? Oh, why don't you do this? So then I was like, yeah, like let's just keep doing it. It was fun, and I miss doing music. So I kept doing that, and now I'm part of the crew. So
Yeah.
it's a fun thing. Like extremely talented.
Right.
I brought a lot of ideas and stuff to the group. And it's just it just like he kind of got like my style and my flow and everything together.
Okay.
Like let's just keep going with it. So we're gonna keep going with it.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, you guys do, man. Y'all chemistry is there, man. I'm like, man, it's like I said, I always wondered your guys' story. Like, how did you guys meet? In Twitter, yeah, it's dope, man. I've come across some pretty dope individuals on Twitter. So yeah, definitely
Yeah,
Twitter
I think
is
like
a
team scene
mhm.
like
Yeah,
awesome on Twitter. Like I've met a lot of people. Like I may have met them like outside of Twitter, but then like when I followed them on Twitter, like I really like the relationship grew. You know what I'm saying? Like or like
yeah,
gained through that.
right. Yeah,
So
that's
I think
dope.
like for
Yeah,
that for this community, like I'm not saying for all communities, but I
right.
feel like community and like sports. Re-
Okay, yeah, I know for YouTube, is
Yeah.
Twitter's really good for that. Like, I
Yeah.
remember when I was like got back into Twitter, I kind of struggled. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I broke through the algorithm. I kind of figured out a way to do that, like randomly one day, and I was just like, let me see if I can figure out a way to find other content creators. So I kept doing these crazy hashtags that deal with
Mm.
like content creators. I'm like, and then like a couple days later, I was like, oh, I broke the Twitter algorithm for YouTube. It's like it was the craziest thing. I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then I just started to see like other content creators that were YouTubers. I'm like, dang, it was this easy.
Yeah. It's cool. I mean, like, and like, I feel like you said, I feel like the video game content creators, a lot of them are like on YouTube, on Twitter, who do
Yeah.
YouTube as well. So
Hmm.
I think it's cool, like, to kind of like humanize them and like put either put like a an actual tone, other than what's on the video. Like you can just message them directly or like at them.
Yeah.
It just kind of like makes them more human and more relatable and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, it's that's definitely true. Yep, I've had where people have inboxed me, even if they weren't like gaming content creators, but people have inboxed me and stuff and say, "Yo, check out my channel," or "Hey, this is what I'm doing on my channel." I'm like, "Oh, this is dope." Now I can just either
yeah,
I give it a chance or I don't. But most of the time it's been positive. It hasn't really been like a super negative experience. Like okay, here and there, but not like a lot of it.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah,
I
that's
you, man. I don't honestly, I don't really see like as much of the toxicity on
mhm.
Twitter. Like you're always gonna have like one or two, and I just
So yeah,
kind of like ignore them. But I feel
yeah,
like for the most part it's been like 85% or 90% positive and 10% negative for me. So
yeah.
I don't know. I like the community and a lot of people I've met like so many talented people. Uh,
Yeah.
like just through like either like graphic. I'm a graphic designer full time, so like
Oh, I didn't know
yeah,
that. Wow.
graphic designers I've met on here. Obviously, like video game content creators, artists, like
Okay.
creators. I've met a lot of really talented illustrators on here. And then just like yeah, obviously musicians. uh,
Right.
like it's been cool. Like I mean, like again, to me, like I just view it as just another bigger pool to find like more talented and positive people, and there's the people that are negative I just don't continue interacting with, and it stays positive for me. So
Okay. Okay, that's a good answer. So my next question for you is on a hip hop basis. What are some of your hip hop influences, by the way?
oh yeah, okay, so I'm definitely East Coast bias, not gonna lie.
Okay.
But definitely the biggest influence on me is Wu. I'm a huge Wu-Tang fan.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that was the first hip hop group like I really like fell in love with.
Okay.
I remember listening
Okay.
to their. I remember somebody in middle. I remember in middle school, somebody gave me a mixtape because I was real big into like rock. Because the '90s was like the haven for like grunge, alternative rock. That was a huge
Yeah.
time for it. I still love a lot of those groups.
Okay.
And my one friend was like, "Yo, just give this Wu Tang a mixtape, like a legit cassette mixtape.
Okay. Cassette's
Give,
taking it back.
give me listen to this cassette mixtape." I remember his name is Gerard. I remember I'm still friends with him on Facebook. I always thank
Okay.
once in a while. I thank him like, "Thanks for putting me on to Wu Tang, man." When I was a
Okay.
kid, and it's so weird. So like, I got into Wu Tang Clan, like like 36 Chambers, Forever, all their Cuban links and all that. And then it was funny because a lot of my friends that were into rock, they were cool with Wu Tang as well. So it was
Oh
kind of like
wow.
perfect transition for me because they were like, "Yeah, man, we like Wu Tang too. Like that's awesome." And then I actually went to see Wu Tang Clan and Rage Against the Machine tour.
Okay.
So like it was like the perfect group for me to transition and like kind of like get into the culture more. Um,
Okay.
I did that, I got like more deep into the like with Nas and then with
Good
yeah,
choice. Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
as like Illmatic is just like a classic to me.
Classic. Right.
And then I always and then Biggie was like huge in my area growing up. And then I got into Snoop because I loved his flow. And then
Okay.
Snoop, you went into like the West Coast, kind of like Dre and all that. All those type Tupac, all those type of guys. Um,
Okay.
so I mean, yeah, like those are like, and then like I guess some of my personal favorites. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
loved like again like a lot of the solo projects too from Wu, like Jizz's project, Liquid Swords, like one of my favorites. Cuban Links,
Okay.
DMX. like his first album was like
Yeah,
classic.
yeah,
Uh,
it's dope.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
definitely dope.
type of those like that '90s, like early '90s to like late '90s hip hop. That's like my pocket right there.
Okay,
And
wow, that's
I
dope,
still
man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was
yeah, I still listen.
Biggie, I was late to listening to Biggie's music. I had a Tupac and Nas bias. I'm not gonna lie, but I grew to like Biggie's style because it reminded me like of a musical instrument when he raps, and I
To
thought that was really cool because I seen the documentary on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on there or not, where Biggie originally was supposed to have been an instrumentalist and not a rapper. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but it doesn't matter.
What?
Yeah, I don't think that's wild to think about. I mean, he had like the thing I always liked about Biggie. I think that set him apart was that
Hmm.
like his flow was just so good over
Yeah,
anything. And then it was so cool because he did something that I feel a lot of other rappers couldn't do. Like he maintained his style and his flow, and the real people who loved hip hop still respected him, but the
right,
mainstream also loved him because
right.
smooth and like everything just flowed together and it was just like perfectly put together. And I feel like, I mean, maybe like Snoop, like to a lesser extent, but Biggie was more lyrical as well. So you had like the flow of Snoop with like the Nas lyrics on top of it, and then he just like, and then he was so versatile. He can go over any type of beat. He was special, man. He was really special, and especially in my area, like in the right outside of the Bronx, like it was huge. He was huge in my area, man. Like,
Okay.
I mean, Jay Z was big too, but Biggie like was like a different level. Um,
Yeah, it is. That's true. Yeah, Biggie was. I think because his style was it was more like an instrument. Like when you hear his raps, you're like, okay, you can tell that this is a little different, unorthodox. You're like, this
yeah,
is cool though. This works.
yeah.
I mean,
My wife still sings Big Papa every time it's on the radio. She still sings it, and my wife, she doesn't really like hip hop that much, but like
oh wow.
Biggie was just different, man. Like he just hit different than other
Yeah,
MCs.
yeah, some artists are like that. I guess it depends, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, I like these artists. Like my mom, she likes some of Kendrick Lamar stuff.
Mhm.
When it comes down to it, and it's like funny because people are like, how she know this song? Like, well, I listen to Kendrick Lamar, so like she probably knows it thanks to me.
Anybody that gets a Dre endorsement is
Yeah,
pretty like, like
right.
really, he doesn't really endorse bad people. So
Yeah,
he just took it and ran with it from there. But
yeah.
like again, he's very talented. Like I like him. I also like for like new age rappers, definitely like J.
Hmm.
Cole.
Good choice.
I also like Big Sean. I feel like he is so slept on, dude. Like he is really good.
Yeah,
Um,
Big Sean. Yeah, yeah,
he,
he's dope.
I feel like people like his first album, Finally Famous. That might be my favorite new age rapper album that I've heard. Like I love that album so much.
Yeah, that album I played that a lot. That Big Sean Finally Famous. I remember when it came out. Yeah, I played that like
'Cause
nonstop.
it was cool because he had the lyrics, but he also had like, and he had a lot of good like production on it. But he also had like a mixtape kind of flow, which I appreciated because people don't do that as much anymore. Uh,
Right.
so it was good. Like I appreciate him, and I feel he doesn't get talked about a lot, unfortunately, which I don't know why. But
Yeah, it does feel that way. Yeah, Big Sean. Yeah, I think he's definitely like in my favorite like Midwest rappers. He's
mhm,
definitely in that list.
I like him.
Yeah, I think with him, Kanye tried to package him
Mhm.
years back, like to be like the next version of him, and Big Sean was like, "Nah, bro, I'm gonna do my own thing." But it worked out because when I listened to like the other albums that came out after Finally Famous, I'm like, okay, I get it now. Like if he would have went the direction that Kanye wanted him to go in when it came to like rapping and maybe just adding a little bit more to the music, I probably would have been like, even
Yeah,
though he did have,
but I feel like he doesn't get mentioned with like the other guys. So I don't know
yeah,
why. But I
yeah,
I usually like again my first thing with me, I'm different. I was like from the '90s, so like if you can rap, like whether you have a good beat or not, like if you're a good
yeah,
rapper, I'll listen to you. You know what I'm saying? Usually
yeah.
way around. If you have a good beat, like then people listen to your lyrics. But I was usually
Right.
around. Like if you were a good lyricist, like that's why like one of my favorite rappers ever is Cannabis.
Oh
Um,
wow.
like
Okay.
I love Cannabis. I think like again, some of the later stuff he's fallen off, but like when he was in his prime, I mean, he go on any of those DJ Clue mixtapes. Like listen to him in the '90s, he was better than like most of them. He
Okay.
great lyrics. Yeah,
Okay.
never had the production, unfortunately. I feel like if he had better production, I think he would have continued to go up.
Go. Right.
But that's what I'm saying. I was always kind of more like lyrics first. That's why it's hard for me to get into more of the newer stuff because I feel like the lyrics are not, not as important as they were back in the day.
Hmm.
Most people,
Okay.
I think like most of the like I know Ghost said it the other day. He was saying like people are not like rapping about stories anymore, and like you could see there's a change in the guard. Which I mean, again, I'm not
I
opposed to
think it's
like
I think it's a lane for like other types of hip hop. Like, hip hop is hip hop, right?
yeah,
But then you got like jazz hip hop, you got the I guess R&B, you got soul, funk. It's like so many different genres. Even like there's this thing called vibe hip hop. Like I guess the best example for that is my man's the guy that signed the TDE, Isaiah Rashad. If you listen to his music, he's lyrical,
hmm
but his music is more like I guess you could call this new genre vibe hip hop music. And I never understood like, okay, he's giving lyrical content, but I guess maybe just the production maybe is kind of a vibe, maybe just the sound overall. But he's a dope artist. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, okay, well,
yeah,
this is the vibe hip hop. Then this is the guy that kind of maybe made this a niche for that.
hmm
But yeah, it's different tastes with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I
yeah,
said,
yeah. I'm not one to say like what's better or not. I'm just saying like me personally, when I grew up, it was
hmm
definitely more about like the lyrical content like
yeah,
first, and then it went like in I guess in my clique of friends or whatever, and then
hmm
the production. If it went with it, then you were like a superstar.
right.
Um, and which is it's different now. I feel like more emphasis,
It is.
and then eventually they'll look at the lyrics. So it's like a little flip flop, but. I mean, again, like, yeah, it's just different. It's changing times. I mean, there's definitely still like the people I mentioned before, like Kendrick Lamar and Cole and Sean, like they're still bringing it. So there's
Yeah,
definitely still people out there that are keeping it real and stuff. But I mean, it's
yeah.
changing.
Yeah, and I think it just depends on like also like if you're looking at the mainstream or indie or just underground, you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah, and
there are
that's another thing too. You're right. You got to
Mhm.
too. Like when I was listening, there wasn't digital Spotify and streaming and all that. So now there's like way more people that can get exposure than just the people that are handpicked by the labels with the marketing budget that you would hear. You know,
Yeah.
so like for better or worse,
hmm
like it's not only an A&R who's deciding who you're listening to. You can find, like you said, you can find anybody through
Yeah.
Spotify
Yeah,
or
Spotify, Amazon.
music or whatever. So
Right.
it's like to me, it's like the gift and the curse. Like you're getting more people that are out there, but again, like is the quality always going to be the same? No,
Not
but
quite.
but
Nah.
you could find people that you never would have been able to find. So you know what I'm saying?
True.
Like that could be
True.
cool too. It's
Yeah.
just have a good year. At the end of the day, it's like, it's who you like. There's more choice. You know what I mean? That's sometimes not a bad thing. So
It's really not. Yeah, I agree with you on that. So my next question for you is what's the story behind your name? Man, I always ask people this because I always want to know the story behind their content
yeah.
creator name.
Yeah. So like, what it was, like I actually will still run a group on Facebook called
Okay.
Iron Mafia.
Okay.
And we got about like 17,000 members in it. And it's just
Woo.
like cast iron cooking because I love cast iron antiquing and cooking and stuff. That's like one of my other kind of like hidden passions, I guess.
Okay.
I like being a foodie and eating and stuff. And then like I found again another community that's like insane.
Yeah.
The cast iron community is incredible. I've met so
Wow.
many people through that. So I was like, I mean, I love my cast iron stuff, but like I was saying before, my other video game. So I was like, how can I like extend that branding into like video games? And I was like, and then it was funny because I'm actually friends with Sean RGT85, and he did
Uh-huh.
retro gaming too, but he like did RGT, and I was like, people just call him RGT all the time, and I was like, well, how can I like the gangster, because I love like mafia movies and gangster
I
movies
figured.
stuff. How can I get that with the video games? And I was like, if I just keep it VG, and then Mobsters, it's kind of like video game Mobster, but I can keep that branding throughout. So I just extended it through that. And then, I love doing as a designer. It's so fun because I'm always doing like corporate designs all the time. So I was able to like, this could be like my branch out thing, and I can do what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like what clients want all the time, I get to do my own stuff. So yeah, that's how I continued, just VG Mobster, and then wasn't taken, and then I was like, oh, so let's run with it. And then like I feel like it's a cool, like everybody always likes like the gangster, like mobster kind of thing. Like I don't know, there's just so
Okay.
sort of affinity with it. So I was like, oh, this is cool. And then
Okay.
I remember I was like VG Mobster, like easy to remember, and then I just kind of like expanded it through that.
Okay, that's pretty cool story, man. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of figured I was like, he must like mob movies. When I
Oh,
heard mobster, I was like,
Godfather's
this,
my favorite movie of all time. I've seen the movie probably like 75 to 100 times throughout.
woo.
I own it on like every single platform. Actually, I have signed yeah, it's over there. I have my signed Mario Puzo book before he
Yeah.
died. Got the
Okay.
Godfather. My first tattoo on my back of my shoulder was the Godfather marionette hand. Um,
Okay. Yeah, I like the
Like,
Godfather.
yeah, it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
just I always, I mean, I grew up Italian. I was near the Bronx, so like that was
Okay.
Bronx Tale. Like Chaz Palminteri is like a legend,
That's another good one. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So that
Man.
like there, and it's cool. I don't know. I always like it, and people connect with it, and it's fun to design around those color schemes and stuff. So
Okay. That's what's up, man. Yeah, I kind of figured your name when you said VG Monster said he gotta have a love for like mob movies. Like,
yeah,
that was the first thing I thought when I saw your name. I'm like,
yeah.
it's kind of like mobster movies.
Oh yeah. Dope. I actually got tickets a couple years ago. It was crazy. It got delayed like two times because of COVID, but I went
Yeah.
to Mob Movie Con. Like my parents actually got me tickets as Mob Movie Con, and it was
It's
like,
a real
oh
thing.
yeah, they did a whole mob. It was like all these guys from like Breaking Bad, Goodfellas, Sopranos. Like yeah, it was this crazy festival. I got to meet like all these guys. I got like Steve from Bronx Tale. I got to meet him. Crazy.
Wow.
A lot of the Sopranos cast was there. Doctor, like Lorraine Bracco was there, and like it was cool, man. Yeah, it was fun. Again,
That's
another community. Again, all about the community.
that's that I never heard of that.
Community is insane, bro. Like they
That
so another
I
community
never
to click with,
wow, I never knew that they have a con for mob
Uh,
movies.
yeah, it was Mob Movie Con. It was awesome, and
What?
yeah, I know. My mom was like, "I had to get you tickets." When I saw this, I was like,
Mom knows you.
"Yeah, great." I got to meet Uncle June from Sopranos. Dominic, Dominic, there. He's 90. He's 90. When I saw him, he was 93. It was celebrating his 90th birthday at the con, so he had just turned 90. Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow,
He
that's
awesome.
dope.
So nice. I actually met Paul Sorvino, the Godfather from Goodfellas. The
Goodfellas,
boss,
you're right.
right, and then he died the next year. So I met him just before he passed away. Yeah, I going in my hall down in my basement. Yep.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
and
Now
I'm
you put me on. I
about
did
it.
not. So is this like only in your in your state, or is this like? other
This
places too.
kid, I actually met the guy. It started off. His name's Michael Mata. I'm actually friends with him
Mhm.
on Facebook. I've talked to him a lot. I talked to him at the con. Obviously, he's the
Right.
creator, and he did started off with just Sopranos Con in New Jersey. That was like his first thing. He did this huge festival. Then he did Mom Movie Con in Atlantic City, and then he did one in Florida as well. And then he
Wow.
was gonna do one in California, but then, COVID and stuff, it was like tougher. But I'm sure it's gonna pop up again because the community is strong, man. Like they're like those like the mob, like either TV/movie, like they're big. And then especially when like a new show comes on. So like when Breaking Bad was there, like even though that was like, more like drug cartels and stuff, like you still got the mob movie people that like kind of latch onto it because the guy Scarface was in it. So you
Yeah.
get like a lot of crossover with that, and then Giancarlo Esposito as Gus, and then like now everybody loves him. So it kind of like continues through that. So that's another huge community. Another reason I kind of like wanted to stick with the name because I'm like this is a huge community that people like they're like
Yeah.
about it. So
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I never knew. I know they had years ago, I would say they had a I don't know if you're into like sci-fi. They had a
mhm.
Doctor Who con in
Yeah,
Chicago.
love that.
And
I haven't
I
I haven't seen Doctor Who. I'm a huge
Mhm.
actually one of my favorite shows ever is Twilight Zone. So
Okay.
like I own all the originals
Okay.
Blu-ray, and then I go I watch them every year on New Year's Eve. That's like a
Yeah.
tradition that
Okay.
I watch. And I actually saw new ones too that like Jordan Peele did
Yeah.
on Plus and stuff like that. So yeah, Twilight Zone to me is one of the greatest TV shows of all time. Period.
Yeah, wow, man. Yeah, that's dope. So my next question for you, and this is an interesting one since we already talked about mobster movies and stuff like that. What are your top 10 or 20 mobster movies or even TV shows?
20. All right, man, we going hard here. Okay. Um, all right. Well, I'm gonna mix them up, TVs and movies, just because
That's
like
fine. Yeah,
yeah,
that's fine if you want to do it that way.
like my notables. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
definitely Godfather 1 and 2 for sure. They're
Okay.
definitely top two. Um, those like people interchange them. Like it doesn't matter to me. I like one personally better because I'm a huge Marlon Brando guy.
Okay.
So yeah, but I also love De Niro and he was in two. So
Yeah. De
it's
Niro
like
was in two. Right.
either one, it's fine. You like whatever your preference is. Two is a little more interesting with like the narrative structure. So some people like two better, between the old and the new. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. They're both great. Uh,
Okay.
so like Godfather 1 and 2 for sure. Goodfellas, classic. Especially
Dang.
Paul Sorvino and Lillian Bracco. Like I kind of like have an affinity for that now as well. Um,
Okay.
and then definitely Bronx Tale. I mean, Chaz is like a legend near me.
Yeah.
Like you go to Little Italy in the Bronx right now, and they have this big. Somebody made a huge mural of the Bronx Tale, like right before, like right after the Bronx Zoo. If you keep going down, like you're going to Arthur Avenue, like this, like 2 blocks away. The huge mural that they did. It's like so awesome on the side of the
That's
building.
cool. Yeah,
Tale.
that's really cool.
Yeah, love that movie. That's a great one. Sopranos, obviously. Like I was there, like watching it on HBO. Throughout. I thought my friend's TV broke at the finale. Not gonna lie, everybody was pissed when it went to black, but it was still a great ride. Again, not all the things that I love in it. Like I feel like there's some flaws in the show, but it was still really when it was high, it was really high. So
Yeah, that's true.
loved
Yeah, it did have flaws.
I
Yeah.
love Breaking Bad as well. That's definitely up there. The show is just I think it's actually my favorite television show of all time, like
Okay.
period. But it was just so good. Like just the
Yeah,
act.
it was Breaking Bad. Yeah.
It had that mob element, which was really strong in it, but it also had that middle class suburban family mixed together. So it was just a great show.
Have
Uh,
you seen, not to cut you off, have you seen Ozark?
yes, I have
Okay,
seen
I was about to ask that. Yeah.
Ozark was good too. I did
Yeah.
like I had to see it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
gangster Netflix. Let's do it. You know.
Right.
And then I also really love The Wire as well. The Wire is really really good on HBO. If you guys haven't seen it, if you like Sopranos, it's right up there, not a little
Yeah.
above. Honestly, it's very
Yeah.
close. They're very close. It's really a matter of preference, but both really really good.
Yeah, that was good. The Wire. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember used to watch that on BT.
yeah,
Man.
Wire. So many great characters and like it was
Yeah.
Stringer Bell and so many good ones. Man. It's a really good
Right.
show. So that some other movies, definitely. I also really liked Sleepers as well.
Sleepers.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sleepers is a really good one. That
Okay. I haven't heard of that one. I
Oh,
might have to check that one out.
dude, check that out on IMDb. Just the cast alone is like insane.
Hmm.
Like Brad Pitt, Robert De Niro, like it's a nut. It's a crazy, crazy cast.
That's a good cast.
Really,
Yeah.
that one's good. I'd say like my other one too. It was weird. It was a mini TV series, but
Okay.
it was written. The book was written by Mario Puzo, who did The Godfather. The
Yeah.
last one. That's a really good one. That was with Danny Aiello, rest in peace. He was the Don in it. He
Oh,
was
okay.
Yeah, that's an awesome one. Joe Montega was one of the capos in it. Like really,
Okay.
oh yeah, it was awesome. Like if you get the unabridged cut, it's like because it was like 3 or 4 episodes when it was like on TV. So I think it cut
Okay.
like almost 4 hours, like 3:45, something like that.
Right.
Um, Totally worth it. Like if you're into mob movies and like The Godfather or anything like that,
Right.
that's like a hidden gem. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
good,
that is. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? A lot of people
Okay.
about that. That's a good one. I mean, there's so many I'm probably like forgetting too. Like, but I
Yeah.
mean, there are like some that like really are like at the top of my head.
Right.
Um, that like I could recommend to like anybody. I'm like, hey, like you got to see this. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Road to Perdition is also good. That was
Okay.
Hanks. That's like more of like a Irish mob. Um,
Okay.
like that and Miller's Crossing. Those are like two like Irish mob if you're into that. Uh,
Okay.
well, those are really good as well.
Okay.
Like the Irish mob, I'm more like I prefer Italian mob, but and then also another one. I can't forget this one.
Hmm.
Armando Santi, the HBO God, have to see it. It's the
Oh
best
wow.
Gotti, 2000%. It was kind of crazy. Like when I said at Mob Movie Con when I went the night before, they had like I think it was like a 20th anniversary of Gotti, the movie coming on HBO. They actually announced that they're doing a sequel.
Oh
To,
wow.
yeah, so it should be coming out very soon. And they got Armando Sante back to do Gotti, but this is when he's in prison now. And it's like the times that they don't really talk about a lot.
Right.
Really excited to see it because he was so good in the HBO movie that like I think this would be good because a lot of people don't know and they're making the script from the actual tapes that they have of him in prison. So it's like legit John Gotti stuff that a
Okay.
lot of people haven't heard though. You know, like the God
Wow.
giving their blessing, like for them to use it and stuff.
Use it. Yeah.
Like keep an eye out for that. And if you haven't seen the original, I think honestly, I think it's on YouTube. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
The original one. But yeah, it's
Okay.
like it's I don't even think it's like 2 hours the movie, but it's so good. Like he actually won an Emmy for that
Mm.
for playing Gotti in that because he was so good.
Oh
So
wow.
I had to get a see, and then to find out that they were actually doing a sequel to it there, like I was there, like when they announced it, that was really cool. So,
Yeah.
yeah, those I'd say those, like, I mean, those are all great, movie
Okay.
shows
Mm.
for
Yeah,
sure.
that's good. Those were some good choices, man. I mean, you said Breaking Bad. I was like, man, I know he gonna say Breaking Bad eventually. Yeah, Breaking Bad, The Wire,
Mhm.
um,
Sopranos,
Ozark, man. Ozark was really
Ozark.
good too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like,
That.
I got my friend to watch. Actually, one of my friends to watch Breaking Bad for the first time. He never saw it. He was like, "Man, the show is really good." I'm like, "I know, I told you." Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, that I mean, those like kind of like stand above the rest. There's so many other ones too that I've seen because I usually, I mean, some of them are stinkers, but I
yeah,
usually try to watch them. I'll usually get like an element or two out of each one that they did well or they didn't do well. But I usually keep up with the scene, and see like what's coming out. If it
right.
has potential. Like I saw that I was really excited when The Irishman came out
That
with
was good. Yeah,
Bro. Yeah, I actually saw that. I went to a limited screening because it was on Netflix, but they did a limited screening for like a couple theaters before like it went, and I had to
yeah,
because it was Pesci, De Niro, and Scorsese directing, and Al Pacino in the same movie. I'm like, I have to go.
right.
It was more of like a slow burn movie, but it
It
was
was
good. It was still good though. Like I thought it was
still good. Yeah,
a lot of slow burn, but the payoffs were good. And then the scenes that Pesci was in, he just like totally stole it. He was so good. Um,
yeah, he was.
you know what I mean? So like that movie too, like if again, it's like I feel like that movie for a lot of people like me, I don't mind long movies. So I didn't mind that it was 3 hours. But I feel like if that was kind of like if they wanted to get like more of a general appeal for the movie, I feel like they should have done like kind of cut it as a mini series. And if they cut it as a mini series, I think people would have like been more into it. For the general, not like me. Like I'm a mob aficionado, so I'm not. But like
Yeah,
you're looking for like more general or mass appeal. You know what I mean? Or
yeah.
more general appeal, mainstream appeal. I think that would have been probably the way to go. I mean, but Netflix is not going to tell Martin Scorsese how to do his movies. Yeah. So I mean,
Right.
that's how you want to do it. You do it wherever you want.
Yeah, I
But
think when I
yeah,
seen that movie, even though I didn't watch in theaters, it didn't
mhm.
feel like 3 hours. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, even
No.
though it was
So, but people, I mean, I know people that said that they said it was long, but to me, this is like, I'm a big movie guy, so like to
I
me,
am too.
the
Yeah.
movie was like if you've ever, I don't know if you've seen one of my favorite directors in general is David Fincher, um,
Okay.
Fight Club, Panic Room, and he also
Yeah,
did
I've seen Penny
Zodiac.
Room, yeah, the Fight Club. Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen Zodiac. Have you seen Zodiac? The one that,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so yeah, it's like about the Zodiac killer, and the thing that made that movie really good to me was that they never found the Zodiac killer. So the thing that was good about the movie is that it was long. It felt long because that's what he wanted you to feel. He wanted you to feel like the detectives. Like the thing never found an ending, like they were, always looking, always like, like becoming fanatic,
Yeah, obsessed with it. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
like I feel like the movie did a really good job, even like that it felt a little long because you kind of like were in the shoes of the detectives. Like
Right.
I got out of it, and I feel like this is with the Irishman. Like you kind of felt like his, journey through like the mob, like how he became pretty much like a strong. He started off as like an errand boy, teamster, and how he kind of like got sucked in to the mob
Yeah.
through that, and like you
Yeah.
see like how he changed and how his attitude changed and how his life changed because of it, and like the slow burn was like part of it, So I feel like
Yeah.
that was worth it.
Right.
But everybody views movies like that, so I'm not gonna get mad at people for not doing it like that. But for me, that's why it worked.
Yeah.
But again, teach their own.
That's true. Definitely true, man. Yeah, when you think about it, each director has their own style of doing movies and what they want you to focus on or what you want to notice. I noticed that with Sam Raimi, when he does
Mm,
these like comic book movies, it feels comic book. It's just not like he's just throwing it out there like, hey, it's a comic book movie. It's like, no, you see it. Like even in Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness, I love the scene where they had Doctor Strange Supreme doing the Beethoven with the magic. I thought that was phenomenal. I was like,
yeah,
yo,
yeah. The
and
visuals
it stood out.
were insane. Like
Yeah.
it really. kicked it up a notch for that. It was really good. I love
Yeah,
the first Doctor Strange movie too. I really like that movie. I
yeah, I watched.
slept on a little bit. That was a good movie, I thought.
Yeah, the
But
first one was really good too. Yeah, I agree. I remember going to see that in theaters. I'm like, man, this was a good movie. Like, even though
yeah,
they got a different director, it still worked.
yeah, I think the thing is with the MCU, like especially like I'll call it like phase one at this point. Like
Hmm.
when Endgame, when Endgame was coming, like it was an event. Like it felt like when I was a kid and like everybody was like, dying to see I felt that like fervor in a while, but
Yeah,
man, when I saw like it was Infinity War and Endgame, like the two of them together, man, I was hyped. Like when it came out, I was like, I gotta see how this ends. Like, because like you were following along with all the movies and stuff.
movies. Yeah,
And it was cool, man. I give flowers to Kevin Feige, man. He did a great job. Like I don't think anybody else could have pulled that off as long as he did. Even if
yeah,
good now. I mean, the guy did like. I mean, even just that phase one was like what, like 20 movies or something. It was insane.
like that.
I mean, he did an incredible job, like
And
you interweaving them all together. And I mean, the climax was great. Like it was really
yeah,
good. I mean, like Thanos was a really awesome villain, and everybody cast, like core, like the core cast, like with Downey and Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson, like they
Hanson.
all kind of like came together, and it was just really they did a really good job putting it all together.
And
So
I like that. And I like that Thanos won. I was like, man, you see these superhero movies and sometimes the villain gotta win. I was in the theaters, I seen Avengers Infinity Wars twice. And I
mhm.
remember the second time I went, and it was so funny because I went by myself. I didn't go with anybody. And there was a lady in there, and she was so disappointed. She's like, "Why does the villain have to win? Like the heroes cannot win all the time.
Yeah,
They gotta take an L."
yeah, like you can't have good without evil, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's a balance. Yeah,
Hey,
definitely.
Thanos, all about balance. I mean, like it's so, and the thing I think the reason I liked Thanos was because he did it so like nonchalantly that like you really thought like, hey, he's like there's no other way. Like this is right. You know what I mean? Like he had no question, he had no like moral dilemma about it. He just like he's like, no, this is like it. Like we have
Yeah,
to eliminate 50% and reset. Like that's just what it is. So like when
correct.
you saw that villain, you were like, wow, this guy's like really psycho. Like really, but I think that's why he worked because he like really believed it. He wasn't gonna let anything stop him. You know,
Right.
He's like I don't care who comes at me. Like I'm getting this gauntlet and boom. You
And I
Um,
like that even when he won, he went on to be a farmer. My man was
yeah,
living his best life.
yeah, he just like that's what I'm saying. It was like okay, like to me it was like a chore he had to do. He's like okay, all right, now we go.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even like it, he didn't even like contemplate in his head that it was like mass genocide. He didn't even like
Right.
like this is where you just have to balance it out and go forward. Like that's it. Like
Yeah.
what you say he
Yeah.
was really good, and Josh Jamel did a really good job
Yeah,
doing it.
you know what? Josh Brolin, he's a go for it because you have
Great.
to realize he played Cable. He was filming for that, for Cable and Deadpool 2, and doing Thanos. I said, boy, he was putting in that overtime for real, for real.
Money was there. Take it.
Yeah.
I love Deadpool too. So I'm really excited for the new one, Deadpool and
Yeah.
Wolverine. Because that's actually my favorite comic book movie of all time is Logan. Logan
Okay. Yeah,
favorite.
Logan was good. Yeah, the movie was
So
woo.
Hugh Jackman was coming back as Wolverine. I was like, oh, I'm hype. Like 'cause, when he now Logan though, I don't think I still haven't seen a better comic book movie than that because
Yeah, Logan, that was my favorite one out of the
yeah,
Wolverine movies that came out. The
he's
first two, I just couldn't really get into them. I saw those with friends. The third one, I saw it was on sale like at Myers. I
mhm,
said, let me see what this is about. It looks pretty good. I heard people talk about it on the news. I said, I'm gonna give it a try. It's on sale at Myers. When I watched it, I said, yo, this was dope. I would have paid to see this in theaters.
yeah.
Literally.
And then on the Blu-ray, I got the 4K cut. On
Yeah,
the 4K cut, they also gave you the noir version, which is like the black and white version. Oh, it's so good. Like it's
yeah,
rewatch to watch it like that because the way it just I don't know, like it just feels right with that movie for some reason.
correct.
Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, if you haven't seen it, like definitely rewatch it with the black and white. It's really awesome.
Okay, okay. So my next question for you is gonna deal with community, man. So how do you feel about the since I know you said you met most of the people on Twitter, how do you
Mm.
feel about the growth of your community on Twitter? Has it grown in an immense way or a small way or
I mean, like I think what it was, I feel like if I really wanted to keep it growing, because what I used to do a lot was like mix in like the community with like giveaways and then mix those in. But I haven't done as many giveaways. So I have
okay,
as growth. If I kept doing them at the rate I was, I probably would have been like way bigger at this
okay,
point. But I don't know, I got to a point with the community that like I felt like I had a good core that was like engaging with me a lot. Um,
okay,
so like I was like, you know what? Like I'm just gonna like kind of try to build this core. And like, just kind of like go from there. Um, like I feel like sometimes it goes up and then like I feel too when Elon Musk took over Twitter, like I feel like all the algorithms change. Like it was so different. Like I don't know, something changed with it. So
yeah,
like not as like the way I used to grow it is like totally different than it is now. So again, I just like I mean, and I feel I've also gotten to the point with my community that I feel like I'm in a good place with it. Like I probably want like a couple, like a little bit more.
okay,
And try to push it, especially I feel like when Switch 2 comes out to be more like more like viral again, like more on the content creation side than like what I used to be, and then the community again because I'll be like more into that space again. But right
okay,
now, I was good with just like the community that I had, and they were like really engaging in my content, and it was fun. Like having fun with it again. It's just a hobby for me, so like it was fun to do it and that's how I always treated it. Like even when I was doing the Cast Iron Mafia group in Facebook, I just
yeah,
always like kind of started from the main core, and then I feel like just things just happen after that.
okay,
So like that's what I try to do here. Again, the Twitter algorithm is changing a lot. I mean, you know that on YouTube,
yeah,
algorithms are always
it really is, yeah,
so like what you did like 2 months ago could be like totally obsolete. So you gotta either like changing it up or just like really build that core enough that they're gonna help you spread. I feel
that's true, yeah,
the biggest advice I can give to anybody like on social media, like just be consistent with it, and the people that are really devoted to you, like just go above and beyond to build relationships with them because they're your biggest fans and they're gonna help you grow. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like more than
that's
you even do by yourself. And like with Twitter, like like I met you like through like Switch, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
the people like it's always like about the social network. It's all about like relationships on how you
yeah,
build
it
it.
really is,
I
yeah,
feel like, like again, like you guys are really good with that too on YouTube. Like with comments, like definitely like engage with the comments, engage
right,
like like engage with reactions to your posts. Try to build, try to try to act as a creator like you would if you were engaging with it, and how you would want the creator to engage with you, and just kind of like do that. And I feel after that everything else will work because the algorithm's always going to change. There's always going to be things we're not going to know about it. So you just got to kind of, I feel like to me, it's like just build in the relationships, and then from there it'll take care of itself. I think like
okay,
on any platform, and then obviously being steady and consistent with the content that's relevant. But building relationships with like the key people, or your key fans or followers is like a big part of it for me.
yeah, it really is, and you did bring up an interesting point about the algorithm.
Hmm.
It's weird, like you said, because as of lately, for me, I've noticed I still get content creators, of course, but
Hmm.
now I'm getting people that's into music, like hip hop heads. I've come across another person that I've kind of established a pretty cool connection with. I'm like, this is dope. Like, at first I wasn't getting people that were into like this type of stuff, so I'm like, oh, okay, this is
And
kind
I
of
mean,
working out in my favor to some
yeah.
degree.
And it's always,
And
you kind of like, and I think that's another thing, like embracing adaptation. I think is
yeah,
important because again, it's like it's always changing, it's always evolving. There's always new features coming. There's always new type of thing. So just being able to adapt and say, hey, like okay, instead of like discouraging the change, being like, hey, this could be kind of cool if I implement it like this, and then
right,
see, like I feel that's just kind of like how you have to be. Um,
yeah,
and then from there it'll just work out, like I'm excited, like when switch to like when we start getting like real legit concrete information coming through, like I'm gonna be all back in it, so I'm really excited. And I remember one of the main reasons that I had to slow down, unfortunately, was I was moving from
okay,
another, and like the problem was when I was moving, it was that crazy housing market where like the rates were like super low, and
okay,
it was competing, and like if you didn't go into a house offer 30 grand over the asking, you weren't even being considered. So it was a really tough market for us
okay,
in. We finally got one. So now like I've been here for a little bit. Like again, my office is reset up and everything. So I think that's gonna be good. And then again, it helps me to then I'm gonna be working on some more music projects as well. So
hmm,
that, and then transitioning back into the video content will be good. And I'll have like it's so important to have like a comfortable setup and stuff that
true,
yeah, like your workflow's got to be tight, because like if you don't have it tight, then you're not going to keep the steady content streams coming through, and that's never going to help you with the algorithm. So I
yeah,
feel a place now where I can do that, which is nice. So I think when that comes, I'm ready to go, and I'm going to be there. And I got a lot. Is I have one idea of a show that I really want to do. I
okay,
want to do it like I want to do it kind. I don't know if you ever seen the show on ESPN. It's about sports. It's called Around the Horn. I don't know if you ever
yeah,
seen.
I've heard of that before,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
on ESPN, and they got like four people, and they're kind of, and then you have a moderator, and they just go through topic by topic. But it's fun because it's kind of like interactive, and they award points, and then the
okay,
end of the show gets like the stage, and then they can like give their whole like deal. Thinking of doing something like that instead of doing
okay,
gas form, just to like change it up a little bit. And
right,
I think it'd be fun for people to like friendly compete, you know,
okay,
just have fun with it, and then that way the you have some mainstays, but the rotation could always kind of be fresh and rotating new, either rising creators, established creators, like whoever wants to come on the show, and do that. So I think that's one thing I'm gonna like do
that's
in
a good idea,
past. Um,
hmm,
and then obviously like just standard content. Like I love doing reviews; they're really fun, and that's another thing. That's another reason I want to keep going with, especially on Switch too, because there's gonna be so many more like developers that are coming in with
right,
Switch 2 because Switch 1 was so like big that
right,
I feel like there's gonna be a lot more developers in from the beginning than there was on the first one. And I've actually met the indie developers. Like I've done some reviews like with codes that they've given me, and they're really really fun. I'm just so appreciative that they're giving me the codes to do it.
right,
I really try to all out and do like awesome videos for them because I
okay,
appreciate the game and
yeah,
stuff.
that's dope, yeah,
So I want to do that like way more with Switch 2 because I feel like that's really fun. There's a lot of good creators out there doing it. Like I'm friends with the guys up at Switch Up, and then
okay,
like other like pretty big Switch like review channels. So it's gonna be fun when I jump back in. I think with two and just see like some of the games that are coming out. And it's like new hardware is exciting, man. So I feel like that's why I
yeah,
jump back in.
okay. So my next question I want to ask you is Do you prefer mainstream games more, or are you more into the indie games?
Good question. I feel I feel like again, there's always those tentpole IPs that I'm gonna be, biased over, like Zelda and Mario and like or like I mean those games are always gonna be exciting. I'm always gonna want to play them. Like right now I'm playing Hellblade 2. I'm almost
Okay.
done. Like I like the mainstream games, but I also appreciate the indies because a lot of times the indies kind of give me that feeling for niches that I'm really wanting. And this is a great example because
Hmm.
I when Switch came out, one of the genres that I really wanted them to go into, but they weren't really releasing in the beginning was beat 'em ups.
Okay.
Really into like I really was craving like a new, fresh kind of beat 'em up.
Right.
And it's so funny because after I played the takeover, which I actually got a code from the developer,
Okay.
that it was so weird after the takeover, and that guy was incredible. It was one guy that did that whole game.
Wow.
Yeah,
No
that
team. Wow.
that game. If you haven't played it, I have a review on my channel. It's for the takeover, and it's by one guy, and it was incredible. Told me this. I was like, "This is insane." And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I wanted to do more with it." He's like, "But I, obviously didn't have the resources." I was like, "Dude, for one guy, like you
To
crushed
make a game?
really good." But it was
Yeah.
so funny. After that game, Streets of Rage 4 came out. Shredder's Revenge came out. Like all these like awesome beat 'em up games. So like to tide me over into that. And then also another one too. I didn't get a code for this, but I got it when it came out at launch. I'm a huge NBA Jam fan. It's one of my favorite
Okay.
of all time. So when Playgrounds came out, NBA Playgrounds, I was yearning for like an arcade, goofy, over the top basketball game. I don't know. I just like
Okay.
had like for NBA Jam, and then NBA Playgrounds came out. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
funny because then the next game they actually partnered with 2K and they got like more kind of like more personalities, more like basketball players from different eras and the licensing and stuff. So they took it to the next level. But like it was crazy. Like they just kind of like fill those niches,
Right.
that for. So I feel like it's a good mix for me. I'm also actually my next my actually since Final Fantasy Rebirth and Thousand Year Door came out. Now those are like my top two for this year. My next
Okay.
one is the one from Devolver. The name's escaping me right now, but the Plucky Squire. Plucky
Okay.
Squire is my next most anticipated game of the year. I think that could be an actual game of the year candidate if it
Right.
really hits its potential. So that's
Okay.
exciting to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like indies like filling in niches that like gamers really want, but the mainstream like doesn't want to do at that point. I think that's exciting. So I feel like to me it's like a mix. But I mean, again, I feel like I probably gravitate more towards the mainstream ones like there, but I need the mix of indies for those type of niches that aren't being fulfilled, if that makes sense.
I like that. I like your answer on this. This is a really good answer because I think Nintendo, when it comes to indie games, and I noticed this with Nintendo, they have a lot of indie games, like a
Mhm.
lot. Like you go to their Play Store, you're like, man, all these different indie games, and you're just like
Yeah.
surprised that it's a variety there. Whereas on the PlayStation, you have them, but it's
Mhm.
not as many as Nintendo. Nintendo just like, hey, we're gonna give indie people a chance to shine. I'm like, okay, this is
Feel
dope.
I feel like for their platform, it makes sense though too, because usually the indie
Yeah,
games are smaller. They're done by smaller teams, and
teams. Yeah,
pick up and play nature and the versatility of Switch is just perfect for indie
yeah,
games. You can get them to run like which most of them can, and it doesn't take up that much file size, which is another restriction of the Switch. Uh, just like no, I'm just saying it's like a perfect and it fills in the gaps.
yeah,
The big games.
yeah.
So why not embrace them? That was such a smart move.
Yeah, I think it's dope. But like I said, I've started like I've always been into like video games. At the beginning, maybe more so mainstream,
Hmm.
but there are some dope indie games. I can't deny there are some dope indie games out here, and it's a niche for it.
SteamWorld Dig 2 is one of like my favorite games, like period. And it's
Yeah.
an so
Okay.
like you know what I mean? Like there's just so many good ones out there. Like I know my boy Lonzo Lilau on Twitter, he got me into Grizz. That game
Okay.
it that game literally is like every frame of that game could be put in a museum and it would be totally fine. Like
Wow.
gorgeous that art style is. Like it's like a blended watercolor, like extravagant, like nice pop, like new age pop, like kind of style. It's beautiful, and it was an indie.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like that's what I'm saying. Without those, like I would have never even thought about that type of game. So I feel like too, it keeps you like opens your mind as well.
Yeah.
Like, what could they and, the mainstream guys, a lot of times, they'll take elements from indie games because, like, they're trying new things, like, and they're like, "Oh, this kinda worked for that. Maybe we can, like, put that
Try to
element
incorporate
on,"
it. Yeah.
like that, and it's cool. It's cool when that happens because, like, that's the thing, like, I mean, these guys, they're coming from different perspectives, they're trying different genres and styles of game that you probably wouldn't have never had if it wasn't for an indie developer. So I feel like
Yeah.
I think Nintendo really, like, you're right. I think Nintendo nailed it with really pushing that alliance, pushing that alliance with indie developers, because
Yeah.
on their system that was a really good fit.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, embrace them, man. There's a like shout outs to all those indie devs out there that are really doing their thing. I mean, look at Celeste.
Yeah.
I it's Celeste. I mean, game of the year, winners. I mean, all over the place for that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it's there's a lot of great ones out there that we definitely should have ours as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, for sure. Yeah, indie games come a long way. They winning awards and getting exposure and all that stuff. So yeah, definitely, man.
Yep.
So my next question I wanted to ask you, and this is interesting. I never asked this, but we'll
No.
see where it goes. So, what
Oh,
are your stress reliever games? Like, if you just had a day where you're stressed out, what 3 or 4 games, maybe 5 games that you can go to and say, "Hey, this is gonna knock out the stress for me."
yeah, these stressors. Let's see. Tony Hawk, Pro
Okay,
Skater 1 and
okay,
2, remake the
okay,
re oh my god, I could play that game all the time. I can pick up and play it for years. It's so fun. You know what I mean?
okay. Good
Uh,
choice.
Like grind, yeah, just grind, do some jump. Hey, let's just go in the hangar again. Why not? Let's just do it. And like that game's got
Okay.
into NBA Jam. I could play that anytime. Like I love that game
Okay.
much. Like it's just mindless. I don't have to think about it. And then I also love this game. I'm also a huge baseball fan. That's like my favorite.
Okay.
That's my favorite sport, like by far. I love this game, Super Mega Baseball. Oh my god,
Mm,
and, like it's perfect. Like it's like an arcade, like slash sim, more so an arcade kind of baseball game. But I can just
okay.
up and play that whenever I want. Like I don't have to think about it, just play it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
something fun like that. And then if I'm like another one too, like I could always go back to like the OG Dooms. Like I remember playing that like on PC back in the day, like and just shooting up some, again the chainsaw out and buzzing some enemies. Like that's pretty cool too. That's a fun one just to go back and just go.
Okay.
Oh,
Those are
yeah,
some interesting choices, man. Yeah,
yeah, those
those are definitely
like
some.
old faithfuls. Uh,
I would
so,
say for me, Mario Kart
mm,
8.
oh, that's
Uh
classic.
yeah, that's the one for me.
With friends,
Pokemon.
100% with
Yeah,
friends.
Pokemon is another one as well. Kirby, the Kirby
Mm.
game. That's
Do you
that's
like
another one.
Forgotten Land?
Yeah, I like Forgotten Land and Return to Dreamland. Those
Oh,
were the hardest Kirby games.
they were so good. My daughter, she's 7. She loves Kirby Forgotten Land. It's like one of her favorite games. She loves that game so much.
That that game was like towards the end of the game, it got
Oh,
harder with the boss
it's
battles.
brutal. Like the post game in Kirby, it's tough, man. It's there's stuff really tough. Like people say it's too easy. I'm like, nah, you didn't play the
No,
post.
no, it's not.
I was gonna say now I know. Now I know you didn't play the post game because it was like Wonder. It's like Super Mario Wonder. I'm like, I know you didn't play the post game because some of
Yeah,
those levels in the post game are really hard. Um,
yeah. I would say even Kirby Return to Dreamland that was hard.
oh yeah,
It took me about maybe when I got to the final boss
hmm
because you had to fight the three different stages of them. The
hmm
first one it took about maybe 8 or 9 tries, bro.
oh
That
yeah.
that boss it
Yeah,
was
it's not.
hard.
No, I agree. It's not easy.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm like me personally. I love video games. I do. I love them. They're like some people like my wife. She likes to play like puzzle games.
Okay,
Like that's her thing. She likes to do that. Me, I just like to play like a lot of times I'll do open world kind of games and stuff like that. But like I'm not looking for like insane difficulty. I'm not a Souls guy. You know what I mean? Like
okay,
gonna play games that I can have like my main thing is not difficulty, it's fun. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm always gonna go over that. I love video games. I'm not great at them, but
okay,
I love playing them. So, like to me,
okay.
fun factor is the most important thing.
Yeah, fun factor is, and if it's replayable, and
Oh
I think
yeah,
I could say,
yeah. Like I have right now I jump after the Fallout TV series. I jumped actually I own Fallout 4. Never played it. I ended up playing it, and then I
wow.
downloaded it Steam Deck, and I played it on Steam Deck. I'm like, oh my god, the game is so good. It's great. Like I don't know what people are talking about when they were complaining. It's awesome. What are you talking about? Like
Yeah,
I love all with it. It's so fun.
yeah, the TV show was phenomenal. Like I
It was
never played the
they,
game,
they
but the
nailed.
TV show, I was hooked. Like the
It.
first episode I watched, I said, "Boy, I'm hooked." I was like, "Let me go to second
It
episode
just what it is.
two."
I agree. Is I feel the to me like again everybody has a different opinion, but to me
Hmm.
the world of Fallout is the key to it. Like, just nailing like the world is so important. And I feel the show really just encapsulated the world so well that you kind of like you couldn't help but get sucked in. It's so interesting, like world of Fallout. Like, and, I mean, like to me, I was just telling people like I beat it in the Minutemen faction, and
Hmm.
I was like, after I beat the Minutemen faction, I was like, no, 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 like I feel like there's like more here. Like I need to like find more. So like then I went into all the different vaults. Like that was my next thing. I'm like, I'm going into all the vaults and like just the lore. Like when you go into like the terminals and you're reading like all the lore of like what's really happening in the vaults and like what like there were experiments for this or like there were test subjects for this. Like to me, that's like the big thing, and I feel that's what the show really got. Like it really was hooking people into like what I was when I was playing the game. Like, what is the reasoning for this? Like, why
Yeah,
happen? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I feel the show nailed it. So, um,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to Thousand Stars. So I'm in the chat. I didn't see him.
Yeah, shouts out 1,000 Star.
Shout
Yeah.
out to my
And
home.
Synthesizer Zero,
Or,
my bad.
uh, I,
Yeah, so yeah, the show definitely was it had me hooked. And I know that Christopher Nolan brother was the one, I
yeah,
think that was the producer for the show. Yeah,
yes,
he did a really good job.
yeah, Jonathan Nolan, man. He
Yeah.
directed I think one or two episodes too.
Yeah, 1 or 2 episodes, I believe. Yeah. So I was like,
Like,
dang.
so that's what I'm saying. Like for me, it's like that I think that's why the show really succeeded. It was because just the lore, like they nailed it. Like and then like again the art style of like the Voltec boy, like that's just part of it. Like it just kind of like lures you in, and you're
Yeah.
like like nailing like the aesthetics of the suits and like the finer details of like having the Nuka Cola machines, and like just like they just really built the world really well, but not in a cheesy way. Like it was so loyal to the source material, which I feel that's where a lot of the other series have fallen short. I feel like they haven't really nailed the lore of the games. I feel like they either tried to make it their own thing or like Hollywoodified it. They haven't really just stuck true to it. So I think that's why people are really into it.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it, man. So my next question, this is gonna deal with video game TV shows.
Mhm.
How do you feel about the current state of video game TV shows? Do you think it's more of a good thing? Is it a bad thing that it's becoming more popular?
I think it's a good I think it's a good thing for games because a lot of times, like again,
Hmm.
I'm telling you, like when I was growing up, like a lot of times I felt like games were like taboo. You know what I mean?
True.
Oh, you play games? You must be like a nerd or something. Like it's weird, but now I feel when you're extending your IPs into television and movies, it's more accepted by the mainstream and known. It's a known and like, oh, like yeah, you know what? I really liked the fall. Like again, you could see it's totally true. Oh, I kind
Yeah,
of like that Fallout TV show. Like, let me give the game a shot, right? I mean,
right. Makes you want to go check out the game. Yeah.
I like I'm interested and I want to know more. You know, like in the same thing. Also, another game I love. One of my favorite games of all time is Bioshock Infinite. It's one of my favorite games of all time. That to me, that's just like Fallout. Bioshock,
Okay.
very similar. Like the whole, the lore behind,
Grinded.
the
Right.
game, like it's crazy. Like you're just like, and then like every section you're learning more, and it's like you're falling deeper and deeper and deeper. And then you find out, like, oh my god, all these guys are like racist assholes. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like you just find that out, but like they string you along, so you're like so interested. And I feel like the TV shows and the movies could like expand either like introduce people to the lore and then they can go to the games if they want to, it's kind of like
Yeah.
when you have a movie, right? And
Yeah.
source material is based off of a book. So
Right.
you see the movie, you really like the movie, but you're like, oh, like there's a book about it. Like maybe I'll read the book because it has more time to flesh characters and settings and stuff, kind of like fill in the gaps that after a movie only gives you like 2.5 hours. Here, you can read a book in
Right.
so they have more time to like really build characters and world and stuff. So I think honestly, like I think for gaming it's going to be a good thing because it's going to get people to go into IPs and games that probably would have never ever looked into it before. And you
That's
can see
true.
that with Fallout. Like after the Fallout TV show, there was like a 10,000% spike in like downloads and like engagement time with like especially Fallout 76. I mean, that game was
Wow.
I mean, after this show, it's like, now it's got all these concurrent players again on the team. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if that doesn't show you that it's going to help, I don't know what will. You have
Right.
to help. Again, like this, like we were saying before, though, you have to give it the care and the respect, to
Right.
the key and do it correctly. And when you do it correctly, I feel they can really help. Now, if you go like me, I'm not a big fan. I love Resident Evil, but the movie, I'm not a big fan of those.
I
Yeah,
agree. Yeah.
but but see, what I'm saying is like if they would have stuck to the source material, like RE1, like that's another RE1 to me. Like my favorite part of the game is the journal entries.
Okay.
Know people don't I don't even think everybody reads it, but to me, like that was the best part of the game because like you see all the creepiness, you kind of see like what happened, how did it
Right. Come
like
to be. Yeah.
exactly like I feel like if they would have just stuck to that, like you had a good base there, but they tried to like do something different with it. I feel Fallout was they really understood, the IP, they really understood the goal of the series and they
Right.
executed it correctly in the show. So now
Mhm.
the game, they're like, yeah, like this totally makes sense because this is exactly what I saw on there, just with different characters, but the world is exactly the same. And I feel that's why I feel like people have to follow that template and that quality standard going forward. And I think it'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah, that's yeah, you know what, and you're right. Because when I think about it, when it comes to video game TV shows, I did enjoy the second one that was on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen that. Check that out. It's animated, but
Hmm.
really good.
This sounds
And even
good, by the
yeah,
way.
that was good. And then when I saw Last of Us on HBO,
Looks
it
good.
looked completely accurate because the
Hmm.
stuff they put in the actual show, you saw in the video game. So it wasn't like, hey, we throwing stuff in there that we didn't see. It's like, okay. And then even some of the stuff that they had to fill in certain stories, I kind of understood. It's like, you know what? Okay, that's cool. They're gonna fill in certain things that weren't incorporated in the game. I'm fine with that. And even
It's
with
still, but it was true, like you said, it was still true. So when you went
yeah,
to the Last of Us game, you're like, yeah, this totally works. Like,
yeah,
it
yeah.
works.
Yeah, because you remember when we grew up, all we had was Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, and the
Mm.
Donkey Kong TV show. We didn't we and Street Fighters and Mortal Kombat as well, but you had to be a certain age to watch those shows.
I love the I have that's one of my guilty pleasure movies. I love the first Mortal Kombat movie. I know it's not, it's one of my
Yeah,
I don't care. It's fine.
yeah, because I think with the Mortal Kombat
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Like you said, the movies, if it sticks to a certain thing, that's why I didn't necessarily care for the newer Mortal Kombat movie that came out, not the animated ones. Legends was
Hmm.
really good, but the new live adaptation, I didn't really like it as much as I thought. Like I seen it on HBO Max, I was like, man, I can't wait to see it. Then I was like, oh man, they made this
Yeah,
hybrid character that didn't exist.
I think that was my main problem with it is that they introduced a character that's not even in the games, and there's so many characters in the game. I'm like, so many little. Like, why are you gonna introduce this random like character nobody cares about as like your guy? Like, it was a very weird choice for me. When the series has, like, I mean, God knows how many, what, 100 characters probably, like to pull from.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
very weird decision for me. But I
Yeah.
loved, like, there were so many sections of it that I really liked. But I
Right.
agree with you that to me, like, your main character, nobody even knows who he is. I'm like,
Who
that's
is he? Right.
bad. Like, Sub Zero and Scorpion are on the cover, and they're like not even the main character. It's so weird.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. There were, I mean, it had its moments. It had its
It
moments.
did.
It felt like to me like wasted potential. Like it could have been more. So hopefully in the second one they, like, kind of learn from that, and this new
Yeah.
God is pushed in the back, and give me Johnny Cage up front and center. Let's do it, man.
That's who I thought he was for a minute when I
Mhm.
first saw him. I'm like, wait, this is new school Johnny Cage.
Yeah, it's quick sidebar, and then we'll keep going. But I actually met Daniel Messina,
Hmm.
the mocap uh person for Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, who did Johnny
Okay.
Cage, Scorpion, Sub Zero, Smoke, like any of the ninjas. He was the artist for that. So that was really cool. Excited to see.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Cool.
So how do you feel about this new Street Fighters movie that's coming out that's gonna be created by a YouTuber? Isn't that crazy?
Like,
Live adaptation.
this is the thing, dude. Like, I honestly, I'm not really opposed to it because you never know. Like, you got, like, I gotta say, like, some of these fan created adaptions on YouTube are incredible.
Yeah,
You
you're not lying.
know, the only thing I'm afraid of is, like, because of licensing and stuff, like, they don't have full autonomy to, like, all of the series, staples, what I mean? Um,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like when
Well,
people, like, fan projects for Nintendo, they, like, shut it,
well,
you know?
I do know that it is Lionsgate is attached to it too.
Oh,
So it's a
okay, cool,
Capcom
cool.
Lionsgate
Yeah, okay,
film.
that works. They'll have the licensing then.
Yeah.
And that's, hey, I'm totally down. Like, if the person's passionate and, like, can deliver, true, faithfulness to IP, like, let's go for it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not opposed to it. I mean, like,
Yeah.
look, I mean, I always tell people, like, look at the James Wan when he did Saw, right? An indie director. Nobody knew who he was.
Knew him,
Like
right?
nobody knew. And now he's spawned the Saw, Conjuring series, so many other things. Like like
Aquaman,
it's
yeah,
and if it, I mean, like I haven't seen again, I haven't seen the trailer or anything, but I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised. It's great. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think they did. I did see like a casting, but these are like real new faces. So I'm like, this is cool too, because I'm like, at least it's not like they're bringing back like people that have already played the characters in the one live adaptation that came out. So I'm like, this is dope that they're going with new people. I really hope it works out for Capcom. I mean, I think it's great that they decided to do another live adaptation. It was time. We haven't had one since the '90s.
Yeah. You know, kinda- I feel like they kind of have the Nintendo syndrome though. They weren't like thrilled with the results of the first movie, so they were very protective of it, which I understand. I understand.
Yeah,
Nintendo,
yeah,
like the time Nintendo went in, they were super hands on. You know what I mean? And I feel like Cap definitely gonna have final say, or like they're gonna have final. You know what I mean? Like rights or something. Like I feel they're not just gonna give the IP up without having some sort of general okay with it. I mean, like yeah,
yeah,
they might trust somebody who may not have the biggest resume or name, but they're definitely gonna be a part of it. So
yeah.
hopefully it works out, man. I mean, like Street Fighter 6 is incredible. It's
Okay,
an awesome game.
all right.
It. So let's do it. I would love a movie with that type of art style, like that kind of like graffiti, like street style with it, like with those.
Okay.
Hey, I'm in. I'm all game for that. That would be really cool if done
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So I look forward to it. Definitely, like I said, it's surprising that it is a YouTuber and also it's a Lionsgate collaboration with Capcom. So
Yeah,
definitely looking.
I respect Lionsgate, man. They made some really good stuff. So, and they take,
Yeah, John Wick.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
Mhm.
and I like that. Yeah, like, I feel like
Yeah.
again, like a lot of debate, especially in gaming right now, is like they're playing it too safe. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you gotta take a chance. Like you
Yeah.
can't be afraid. You gotta like take the chance because that could spurn something that you never even would have thought would have worked.
Correct.
So I feel like I mean, you can't just haphazardly throw money at things, but like every once in a while, you got to say, okay, yeah, this isn't like templated. We don't really know, but we got to try it. It's too good of a concept to not try.
Yeah, I think Capcom looked at the success of Sega with Sonic the Hedgehog movies and even Nintendo with the Super Mario Brothers, the 3D animated movie, and they said, look, it's about time for us to, try our hand at it and see what we can do.
And yeah, I mean, shout out to Capcom, man. They've been crushing it lately. So shout
Yeah.
out to Hunter and all the Resident Evil remakes. I even tell people Resident Evil 2 remake is probably one of my favorite now. Like, and I love the original, but I like the remake better. I do
Okay.
like it better.
Okay.
Yeah, thing that was made too great, and they just did it better for the remake, and that was really hard to say because I loved the second one. Like I was there at my friend's house the day RE2 came out, and it was a double disc, and people were like flipping out because they were like, "Oh my god!" Where like people thought it was gonna be open world before open world was really there. Yeah,
Open world. Right.
so like, and it was kind of like a glimpse into that because you were going through the station and outside, and then going through, and like you felt like you were kind of walking through the city, which
Right.
was, I mean, that's what like we had never seen anything like that before. So like, what I'm saying is I have a huge admiration and respect for the original, but two, just man, it just blew me away. It was so good, and I feel they've done that. Like the RE4 remake was really good, and the best games of all time, and they really did it justice. So they've been killing it lately. Really doing.
Okay. Yeah, that's dope, man. Definitely dope. You dope take on it, by the way, as well. So yeah, man, I look forward to it as well. So my next question for you is, when it comes to making raps, bro, are you mainly freestyle or do you write?
I write, man. I write.
Okay.
I'm a writer. I mean, you know what it is like with freestyle. Like I've done it before, like just for fun and stuff. But I would never like a lot. I think too. A lot of my maybe it's because my style of writing, I usually have some sort of like story or narrative to it. So I
Okay.
feel like style and narrative is like kind of tricky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then, you know, yeah, like I mean that's just like my style. Like I mean, there's some tracks that you just like have fun and stuff, but like my narrative style I think is better for writing because I kind of like usually it's like in three, you know, like let's say if I'm doing a song with like three verses, I usually have my progression, you know, like from start, you know, like middle to finish. So like I have to kind of like plan it out. And then even on
Okay.
like I don't know if you've heard some of the stuff with TJ. Like he a lot of his things are like with the themes and concepts and stuff. So like I try to like stay in the pocket with like the theme or concept that he like kind of created. So to freestyle it, like I don't know if I would like get it like me personally, I don't know if I would be able to encompass it as much. So
Okay.
my style, you know what I mean? Like if I was just trying to go over make it sound dope, like, yeah, maybe I could freestyle it, but I feel like since my style is more like narrative and I'm telling some sort of underlying story or theme throughout, to me, it's like a lot of times I write the first verse and then I'll go through the song and then I'll be like, nah, you know what? The third verse doesn't really like finish the story. So I go back in the first and I have to tweak it. So like when you hear it, kind of like flows throughout. So it kind of like, you know, lyrically makes sense. So that's what I'll do. Like honestly, I'll probably write more.
Wow, bro, because your rap style, you know what I thought when I first heard you? Like, I've heard you on TJ stuff,
Mhm.
and I'm like, man, I thought that you were more of a freestyle because your flow, it kind of reminds me of someone that's just freestyling because you're so fluent with it. I was like, man, this dude must be freestyling. But to hear that you are
Not
writing is amazing, man. That's
yeah,
amazing.
like on arcade, like because I mean, like to me, like when I heard arcade, like that was the first song like I did with TJ, like on Master Sword.
Right,
Um, he was like when I was listening to his because he did his verses first and he asked me to go on after. And when I
right.
heard it was really just like a song of him flirting with the girl. So I was like, okay,
Okay.
like about like I definitely want like my arcade references in there, but the whole point has got to be like me from the beginning, like you know, identifying the girl I want to go with, me like kind of like you know like whining and dining, and then closing the deal. You know what I mean? So like I had to
Yeah,
do first where I'm taking you through like my process. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's yeah, that's how I did it, and I mean, like it turned out great. Like I had so much fun doing that song, and so yeah, I think it's just because, like I said, like I feel like if I freestyled it, like it wouldn't be like it wouldn't make sense to me, and then like when I
Okay.
heard it would like bother me at the end. I'm like, well, that doesn't really like when I'm no, like here I got my beginning, middle, and end, and that's it. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate that though, man. If it sounds like that, then that means it's coming out fluid and stuff. So
Yeah,
biggest compliment, man. Thank you. I appreciate.
yeah, man. Hey, you welcome, man. Yeah, I thought for sure, I said, bro, this dude is like, I'm like, man, is he like really? I said, but then to hear that you're doing that, that's unique, man. Like, because I thought for sure that's what you were doing. I said, dang, he's painting a picture with the freestyles. I'm like, okay. But to hear that you're writing, it's very unique, you know what I'm saying? Because I think everyone, when it comes to making music, I think everyone has a different way or angle to tackle it. And you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I think too, it also depends on if I'm doing a solo, like my own song, or if I'm doing a
Mhm.
like to me, like if I'm featured on a song, like I'm kind of like just enhancing what your vision of the song is. You know what I'm saying? Or like what your
Okay.
is. You know what I'm saying? So like I did when I was on Katetsu's album, like when I did the goodbye part at the end, like
Yeah.
he was like and when the verse that he sent me originally, he was talking about like he was making rules for like hip hop and stuff. And then I was like, well, in my next verse, I'm gonna say, nah, well, I'm breaking your own rules. I'm doing my own thing, you know? So like I like if that beat was my song, like I would have done it totally different because it's what I want it to be. But when I'm featured,
Right.
kind of piggybacking off of you and trying to like finish your vision. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like
Yeah, that's true.
I did empty the clip with TJ. He was all about like, doing like weapons in like guns specifically in games. So I was like, dude, I gotta come with the guns and like I gotta go. Like I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, well, how would John Wick if he had an armor weapons?
Yeah.
What what would his story be? And that's what I did. You know what I mean? So like it's just like that's what I'm saying. Like when it's my own thing, then I can do my own concepts. But especially for features, like I try to just like enhance what you're trying to do
Yeah.
because featured on your song.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's
So,
true.
any
So my next question.
they're just like, hey, it's 16. I'm just gonna do. For me, I'm just like, hey, I'm on feature on your song. I want to enhance it. Like whatever you're.
Right.
I want to like
That's
back or make it continue with the theme at least.
right. That's a great way to go about it, man. So
Yeah.
my next question is what are the worst movies that you've seen?
Oh, funny. My daughter just asked me that question. Like, what are like the worst movies that you've seen? Okay, so I'm gonna give you the answers that I gave her because they're all pretty bad. I think.
Okay.
They both have eyes. Oh my god, I fell asleep. I love horror movies, and I fell. Like, me and my wife, we were like turned off. It was so bad. We were like, no, we're not gonna. And she doesn't even movies to begin with. So, and then I didn't even like it. I'm like, no, this is really bad. Like that movie horrible. I have to shout out Scream 3 because I was really excited for Scream 3 because I loved 1 2. I walked out in the theater.
You said I'm out of here.
I was like, nah, I'm here. Like this is really bad. I mean, they rebounded in like future ones, but 3 was man, it was so
Yeah,
bad.
three was yeah.
And then another one, I remember this one was really bad. I was like probably a teenager. I'd say like 13 or 14, like I don't remember when it came out, something like that, like early teens or like preteen. And I remember all this hype for like the biggest budget movie that was coming out, Waterworld with Kevin Costner. They were like, oh man, they had the biggest budget like they've ever had for a movie. And I'm like, oh, I gotta see this. Like, this is crazy. Oh my god. It was Kevin Costner with like gills that like you could literally see where the makeup was on the prosthetic. I was like, nah. And then like I didn't get it. Like the movie, like all of a sudden, like Kevin Costner's like on a ship, and then like Dennis Hopper is popping. I was like, no, this is weird, man. And he's like a song pirate. I'm like, no, no, this is weird, man. So like that one, those three are like three of my worst like movies I've ever seen. They're all pretty bad. Uh,
Oh man.
Waterworld, maybe Waterworld has had like more love since this came out. But I originally saw it because there was just so much hype going into it, and
Yeah.
then I saw it and I was like, nah, this is horrible. This is
If I had to name some, Superman Returns, that was horrible. I walked out of the
oh, yeah,
theaters when I saw.
with see, I don't know. Maybe that's like a guilty pleasure movie of mine. I think the guy who played Superman, I think he like looked like Superman to me, so I like always kind of like had a guilty pleasure love for him. The movie wasn't great, but like I also saw it in IMAX 3D, so that kind
Okay.
of did a little bit, like especially when he was in the big stadium and he like dropped
Yeah.
out and like that was kind of cool, but like
Yeah.
all the other Superman movies either. So
That was the one that I didn't like the most. Then Phone Booth with
oh
Colin
yeah,
Farrell.
Farrell, yeah, yeah.
That was terrible.
They I think they tried to like I call it like caution filmmaking. Like they tried to like find every you didn't really have to do that. So I don't know.
Right.
Very weird. Very
And then
weird.
what got me was the ending. Like he found out all this time my man's was the one calling. Because remember he was on the stretcher. He looked up. I'm like, come on. I'm
Yeah. Like
like,
yeah, you're like seriously, like you feel like you wasted your time. Yeah, I get it.
Another one of my worst movies, and this one's been Nintendo deleted it completely. The Kirby live adaptation movie. You
Oh,
cannot find that anywhere.
I didn't even know.
It
Oh my god, that must be really bad.
was. It was really bad.
Oh my, that's like yeah, that's like beyond bad. Because like if they even took it off, that's like really
You
bad.
you can't find it on IDMB. You can't find it on Amazon. You can't find it
Wow,
nowhere. They did the Affinity Snap like.
it's vaporware, dude. Oh my god, that's wild.
The
Vaporware.
other movie I would have to say is Mario Brothers, the live one. I didn't care for that. The live one that came out.
People, I didn't like it either, but like I don't know, it's weird. Like I think people like after they animated, like again, had a resurgence for some reason. Maybe they were. I think it was one of those movies like I used to do when I was like when I had my first house. We used to do bad movie nights. Like it's so
Okay.
bad that it's good. Does that make like I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
like John Leguizamo came out and said we were drunk like half the time when we filmed them. He said,
Well, at least he redeemed himself in other
yeah,
movies and stuff. Yeah, he did. I was like, well, this wasn't your best role, but you did redeem yourself.
he was honest about it though, so I can't really blame him. You know what I mean? Like
And-
they obviously there wasn't really a good structure on the set or whatever. So I don't know.
yeah. And then my next one will be Bad Boys 3. I went to go see that. I
Dude,
didn't care for it.
that movie could have been cut about 40 minutes and it would have been fine. I mean, that's like the movie's like 245. It literally could a third of the movie could have been cut and it would have been fine.
Yeah, that was the problem. It was a bit too long for me. I'm like, nah,
Oh
this.
yeah. It
Yeah.
felt bad. Yeah, and
And then even
I love Martin Lawrence. He's one of my favorites. I actually rewatched like the Martin show on HBO. It's so
uh-huh.
funny. Like
Oh yeah,
even so funny. So like yeah, that was
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they should have, like you said, cut down on the story a bit because it was just too much. And
At
then
least
the one,
minimum. Minimum.
yeah, and then the other movie I would have to say is Morbius. Morbius makes my the
Ooh, I
worst.
didn't yeah, it looks so bad. I didn't even see
It
it.
was boring. I fell asleep on it a couple times. Yeah,
Like some movies, like I guess that's one other thing with me too. It's like some movies like are just so the trailer is just so bad to me that I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna watch it. Like I watch it. Like
I thought Morbius. What got me was just like
well,
this.
yeah, I get it. I mean, Jared Leto's good. He's a good
Yeah,
actor,
he's a good actor. Yeah,
but that movie was not good. Yeah, from what I heard, so I'm not surprised. Not surprised
yeah.
about
It
that.
wasn't good at all. I was like, this was a waste of time. And then, I mean, even just the setup for the villain was kind of goofy. It's like you guys didn't really give us a backstory on why the villain is the way he was, and just overall, just the other things that I felt were missing. There were like certain things that were missing from the movie. I'm like, if this is what Sony's doing with these villain movies, then you guys need to do something else. This is clearly not working.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Sony is like trying to hang on to like any of the Marvel IP they still somewhat have rights to, but it's definitely
Yeah,
not
yeah, they
fine.
own the entire Spider-Man universe. They're sharing Kingpin and Spider-Man with Marvel, but the rest of the characters they completely own. So I'm
Like
like,
like Venom and stuff like that. So
yeah.
yeah, I'll say I don't know. I loved to me Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is one of my favorite like characters in MCU. Like I'm
Yeah.
so excited for the new Daredevil and they bring him back. I'm all
Woo.
I loved him in that.
Yeah, he's definitely a good Kingpin. He's probably by far my favorite Kingpin.
He
Yeah.
rocked it, especially that first season of Daredevil. He was awesome. Like he rocked it. Um,
Yeah, I even like the guy that played Bullseye in season 3 of Daredevil. He did
mhm.
a good job too. He's up there with Colin Farrell. I like what Colin Farrell's Bullseye. That's another movie I didn't really care for either. Him playing Bullseye, him throwing the glass and stuff like that. I'm like, this dude, he felt like Bullseye. I was like, this is Bullseye.
That's cool, man. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, yeah, those are pretty bad movies. I'm not gonna lie. I no. I mean, Superman Returns is one of those like I didn't really mind it, but I'm not saying it was like great or anything. I wouldn't like recommend to see it, but those movies I'd be like, okay, it's not as bad as everybody says it is, but it's not great either, if that makes sense.
Now, I will say the actor that plays Superman, he did redeem himself in the TV show universe for DC. So I'm like, okay, well, at least he redeemed himself.
Cool,
I'm cool with that.
cool. Yeah, they
Yeah.
did a good shot. I mean, they had a pretty good like. I think Brian Grazer like produced it. He's done some great stuff. So I mean, it just didn't work out the way they wanted to, but we'll see. I mean, I'm excited. I think DC. I think James Gunn is pretty good at what he does. So I'm willing.
True.
God, like I loved Peacemaker. I love that
Yeah,
show. Like
Peacemaker was really
I
good.
thought it
Yeah.
was really good. So I
Yeah.
mean, I want to give him a shot with like, cause I know he was heavily involved with Peacemaker. The new Suicide Squad was pretty good. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
great,
it was.
pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah, like
Yeah.
uh, I'm willing to see some stuff from him. Yeah, like I think he's earned. And then Guardians 3 was so good. So, I'm willing to give him a shot. I think
Correct.
he's.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. James Gunn definitely. I know they even talking about doing a Green Lantern series. I don't know if it's animated or live adaptation, but I look forward to that too. I'm like, because I
Okay.
know John Stewart's going to be the main character
Hmm,
in Hal Jordan Green Lantern. So this definitely should be interesting. Like when I think about it, I'm like, oh, okay, Hal, John Stewart,
hmm,
hmm, team
that
up. Yeah, that could work.
Yeah, I think the thing I like about James Gunn is that he like takes chances, which I think, especially like people are getting a little like tired of comic book movies or a little fatigue of it. I think you
Right.
can, you know give it a little tweak.
Yeah, definitely true for sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
So my next question I was going to ask you, what are your top five cooking dishes? I know you said you like to cook,
Ooh,
man.
yes, cooking dishes. Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, love veal parm. Probably my favorite. That's probably
Okay.
my big veal guy. Yeah, my wife cooks it for me. She doesn't really like veal, but she cooks it for me on my birthday. So it's
Oh,
it's
that's nice.
that's
Okay.
like one of my favorite dishes. Definitely. I'm a big fettuccine alfredo guy. Love fettuccine alfredo.
Me
Um,
too.
like yeah, it's really good. Trying to see. I do like for me personally when I cook, I like to do these like marinade steak tips, rice,
Okay.
and my girls
Okay.
do. So I do that. I have a cast iron waffle iron. So doing like
Ooh.
homemade like Belgian waffles, ooh, they're really good.
Yeah, they are.
That's And then you can put whatever topping you want up. It's like always flaky and hot and really good. So that's definitely for me. Um, and then let's say another dish. I mean, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with a cast iron steak either. Like a nice like ribeye or
Okay.
yeah, like a nice ribeye or a strip, like a New York strip. Just
Okay.
straight like just like seared iron, like right before you cook, you get a nice medium, delish. So
Okay.
probably like
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Chicken
mind
Alfredo is
how
definitely
much.
Chicken Alfredo is definitely one of mine for real. Like, man, that's when I go to an Italian restaurant, I gotta get the chicken Alfredo.
And they're not all created equal. Like when the Alfredo sauce really hits, like it's good, man. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I think my the restaurant was at Carrabba's.
Mhm.
Carrabba's to me, so by
that's
far,
that's a good Italian chain. Um,
yeah,
like
yeah.
my sister lives in Florida, so she
Hmm.
like there's not like she's found like she's been there for years now, so she found like some transplants that like from New York that have actually come down to Florida open restaurants. But she used to go to Carrabba's a lot because in terms of chain, that was like really good for a chain
Yeah,
Italian food. So yeah, I mean if you're gonna pick a chain, I mean definitely better than Olive Garden. Good lord.
yeah, Olive Garden.
Like it's like brutal. I don't
Just go for the salad in the
yeah,
croutons at Olive Garden and breadsticks.
don't have like pasta really there. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, they pasta.
Mm.
Mm-mm. I'm surprised they're still around, man. I'm like, man.
All these other restaurants are closing. I'm like, Olive Garden's still around, sir. It's the breadsticks, man. They're keeping them alive, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's the breadstick and the salad.
Yeah,
Oh, we got
that's
breadsticks, salad.
they're like not even eating the regular food, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
that
that's true.
yeah, Carrabba's for a chain, like definitely one of the better Italian chains for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely, man. So my next question for you is just gonna go back to gaming.
Hmm.
What are some of your top Nintendo consoles, man? New
Ooh,
or old?
good one. It's crazy. Nintendo, gotta be up.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Chrono, any of the system that Chrono Trigger was originally on is definitely in my tops because that game is
Okay.
god tier and so good. That game, like Link to the Past, and the original Street Fighter, and so many good games with Super.
Okay.
Um, and then Super Nintendo, definitely GameCube. I think the thing about GameCube that I love about it is that it's got so many like unique IPs that they haven't really continued with. So like a lot of the IPs there that they came like Star Fox Assault, like again,
Yeah.
it was kind of like a partial remake with Zero, but we haven't gotten like a brand new Star Fox game in a long time.
Right.
Like GameCube had a lot of type of games like Eternal Darkness, like never had another one after that. So it's kind of like it's kind of like synonymous with the GameCube now. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
Twin Snakes, Metal Gear Solid. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of good games on GameCube.
Right.
Like never really fully continued, and then with Switch, right? When Switch was the thing that I really love about Switch, besides like the versatility, is that the
Hmm.
parties came back. You know what I mean? A lot of these games that had skipped, all the Final Fantasy games, they'd skipped Nintendo consoles. They're like all back now, and it's
Right.
great. It's
Yeah.
great. So I think Switch, like just opening the doors to allow third party devs to like really come back and support it, it makes it like I tell everybody I can play everything from Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which is my favorite game of all time now, to
Okay.
Duke Nukem Megaton Edition, which brings me back to my MS DOS days. You know what I'm saying? I can play all those on the same system. That's awesome. You know?
Yeah, one thing I can say about the Switch, I'm glad that Nintendo went away from discs to cartridges. I'm like, this was definitely innovative. It's like, you know what? We can still make games, but let's throw it in a cartridge format, like a
Yeah,
Game Boy or Game Boy
they
Color.
I think they heard that people were just sick of like the huge download times for games. And I'm again, not all the I'm not saying all the games are like that, but a lot of them, you can just pop it in and, like a minute later you can play it. So I think
Yeah.
that's a huge advantage for it. Like, cause I know me personally, like I boot up. I remember when I got God of War Ragnarok for PS4, I was so excited for it. And then I had to wait. Like I had to
Download time, right?
wait 100 and whatever gigs. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, it kind of like kills, like, there's nothing like that feeling like when I was a kid, like you get the cartridge, you plop it in, and you're playing it like right away.
Right.
Call me old school, I guess, but like that to me, kind of like that's like a big thrill, like your first boot up, and then like I have to think about like waiting for it. Like I don't understand. So definitely, I think Switch that was a good move, and also because it was portable, I think that kind of you can really put a CD drive in it. It's kind of weird.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I think like those would be my top three. So it'd be like Super Nintendo, GameCube, Switch. Um, Probably trying to think like what are my favorite of the handhelds. I mean, I have so much nostalgia for Game Boy, uh,
Okay.
but I'd probably say like 3DS was awesome, man. Like
Yeah, 3DS was, yeah.
3DS was great. It's so many good games on there, and like like the card, like again, I had the cartridge format, like that slider 3D. It was cool. Like the games that like really took advantage of it, you threw it on. It was really cool. If you didn't want it, slide it off.
Slide it off, right?
I think that was cool. Like, that was really cool at the time. And again, like, I'm talking about like not at launch. I'm talking about like once it got more support and price was better and stuff. I think 3DS like, came into its own. Um,
Yeah.
like in terms of like for my like favorite handheld, probably. I mean, I just the only thing about it was the little C knob.
Yeah, that little
That's why I'm really excited to play Luigi's Mansion, well, Dark Moon, but they're calling it 2 now, on Switch because I played 1 on 3DS. I played through it,
Okay.
the
Right.
remake that they did, and it was good. I mean, I got through it. It was fine, but I'd rather
Okay.
not have to do the knob. So
Right.
and so I'm like, all right, fine, I'll bite. Like, you better visuals and stuff. Fine, that's cool. But I think
Yeah.
it's like library of games and like the portability and like and you could play all your DS games because like my wife had DS, so like a lot of the DS games you can just plop in. I mean, you got a killer library there.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah, so I mean that's
Yeah.
yeah. And I'd say my last one is probably I have to give a shout out to Wii because when when I was in college,
Mhm.
I didn't have a GameCube when I launched in college because in college, like I had my focus on other things, but other than gaming as a
Right.
college. But I also like if you were playing, like you were playing on Xbox or PlayStation 2. Like when I was in college, those were like the systems. Like nobody was really playing on GameCube. Like it was very like niche, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
then when we came out, I don't know, like it just like clicked with me. Like like the hype was like everyone was so hype about it. Me, all my friends were playing sports, and then like my wife was playing Guitar Hero with me, and like you know, everybody, my mom even wanted to play bowling. Like it was just like it just it brought everybody together. Like and it was just so different to have like the motion controls like for games again for better or worse for better or
Right.
but, like, it was just so unique at that time that it, like, got me back in. Like, when I was
Okay.
out a little bit of gaming, like, because I mean, like, after a while, like, Fox, like, they were all kinda, like, putting out the same type of games. So, like, to have all of the motion control was, like, big at that time. So give it and it was great because like I said, I didn't get GameCube at launch. So my Wii, I was able to play the games on GameCube that I missed, like Mario
Right.
Kart Dash, the Fight Night, the Def Jam, like those games I didn't play on GameCube.
Right.
I was able to play on Wii because I had the original, which was back compat. Um,
Right. Right.
so I give it respect for that too. Uh,
Yeah, we is an honorable mention. I gotta give you that because when you think about it with the Wii, it got everybody in the family involved, cousins, mamas, you know what I'm saying, aunts,
it
you know what I'm saying?
people in
Yeah,
nursery like
yeah,
I
kids.
yeah, and it was crazy, dude. I think the smartest thing that Nintendo did with the Wii was to have the mall tour. I think that was the smartest thing because Wii you had to like actually pick it up and play it to understand. So like when
Right.
people are in the mall and they're like swinging, like, and they're like bowling, like people saw that and like, what are they doing? Like what?
Doing.
And then yeah, oh yeah, you gotta try this, man. Like I'm playing tennis and like I'm
Yeah.
on the court. Like you know. And then like remember with Zelda, I was like, yeah, I'm like on the horse and I'm like slicing the people
Slice.
and like it was like it was hard. Again, like now people are like, oh, that was so gimmicky or corny or whatever. But like at the time, like it was so different. It was so unique
Yeah.
that but it worked. Like it worked for them. And then like Nintendo, again, even though the third party like kind of did more like shovelware stuff, like Nintendo made some great games for it though. Like Super Mario One Galaxy 1 and 2 are just like incredible games. Like and
Yeah.
they still look good to this day. They
I,
still look.
yeah, I hope they bring them on the Switch too, man. I'm hoping, man.
They have one. Galaxy looks great on the Switch. By the way, it looks really good. I have the
Yeah.
All Stars collection. It was great. It looks so good. it looks
Yeah, I
great
hope they do like a the Galaxy 1 and 2 on the Switch too. Hopefully, I'm
too.
I'm hoping.
Two is one of my favorite games. It's great. Like they just
Yeah,
one did and then added Chi and it made it like infinitely better. Like it was really good. So
yeah, they did confirm they were gonna do more Mario. They did have some Mario games. I know Mario Kart 9 is coming out for the Switch too. That's gonna be one of the premier games.
oh
Rumor is that we're gonna get a sequel to Mario Odyssey, which
uh,
I definitely would like to see.
I
Yeah,
was I was so in the camp. Like I was I was one of those people that was like inching and trying to find any rumors of DLC
yeah,
for it. Like or like if any game was gonna get DLC, this is the one that makes the most sense because you could do anything with it.
yeah, yeah,
Add DLC pack of 4 worlds, 3 worlds, or something, and it's like it would have. To me, that was a missed opportunity. But if they're trying to save it, if they have so many more ideas and they want to do a fully two,
right.
that, that's why I always kind of believe the rumors of a two, maybe even launching on Switch because they just
Right.
I feel like they had so many ideas that they like didn't even like get scratches on uh
Yeah, that's true.
but yeah, I mean hey I'm that would be amazing because I that's my favorite 3D Mario game now
Okay.
and
Did
I
you like
love 64. 64 changed gaming for me personally.
right.
Um,
Okay.
I actually rented an N64 from Block to play that
Okay.
because it was so hard to get. Like Steven Spielberg couldn't even get Nintendo's, so it was really hard to get it. So like Blockbuster had, and you can rent it. I just remember booting on Mario 64, and like I spent like 20 minutes just like running around the castle. I didn't even play the game. It was just so
Okay.
never we never had that like type of experience before. Like, and people look at it now and they're like, "Oh, it looks weird," but when like originally like were there when it launched and you played it and like you could move the camera like wherever you want, it was just it changed gaming for me forever. That game, so.
Okay,
But I
that's
mean,
what's up.
the better game overall. But 64 was like the pioneer. So
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Mario. Like you said, they probably saved it for the Switch too. Like I said, I
yeah,
already know that
like, they didn't do
Mar-
they're probably waiting for like like a Galaxy 2 type of treatment, like just hey, we're gonna go all out.
yeah, that's probably what it is. Like you said, they probably say, you know what, let's save it for this. I did even hear that they're doing another Smash Brothers game, the fighting game with all the different characters, which I'm excited about too. I'm like,
But
woo.
that one though, man, that was infinite.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be real tough to beat that game, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it might just be. I think it's gonna if they do another Smash Brothers, which
Hmm.
I think they are gonna do. I mean, you don't just make a 30 million, almost 30 million game. Be like, oh, we're good. We're not gonna do it anymore.
We quit.
Yeah, yeah. But you're gonna find. I mean, I don't think Sakurai would do it. But I think that he may be like an EP on it. Like might
Okay.
look over it and make sure the quality is up to standard, but not like actually develop it. But I think if they're gonna do another Smash Brothers, they're definitely not gonna. I feel like they're not gonna do like, hey, we had 75 here, let's go 100. I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're gonna be like they're gonna make more mechanics, like new mechanics in the game that are gonna separate it and just have like the core characters back, and then
Okay.
but in a different direction because I don't think you can go farther than what they did. Like
True.
it was.
True. When you think of, yeah, definitely true, man. So my next question, this is probably gonna be the last one.
Yeah, good man.
If you had to choose to shop from either two of these three stores, GameStop, EB Games, Funko Land, and Toys R Us, which would it be?
Or
Between the
what's the
two.
last one? What was the last one?
It was it EB Games?
Yeah, all right. So EB Games, GameStop, FuncoLand, or what was the other one?
Toys R Us.
Oh, Toys R Us. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. So nostalgia is gonna tell me FuncoLand and Toys R Us because
Okay.
Like, I like GameStop, but, like, I feel like GameStop, like, just bought everybody out and, like, didn't really innovate. I feel like they were just to, like, monopolize the industry, and, like, to me, that's not, like, they haven't really done anything that to me is, like, making them unique, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, yeah,
Okay.
and they brought in, they bought the Think Geek, so they have, like, some more memorabilia and merch than they've had, but
Yeah.
really haven't brought anything new. Like Toys R Us to me crazy because it wasn't just a game or it was an experience. You know what I'm saying? Like when you went,
Really was. Yeah.
yeah, like you go. Remember, like my daughter was my older daughter now. Like when we used to bring her to Toys R Us on her, they would announce her name on the loudspeaker. They would like bring come over her. They would do like interactive activities, like it was an experience, you know what I mean? Like, and I
Yeah.
feel that was cool. And then I remember Funkoland, like Funkoland always had that colorful logo, and like
Yeah.
they had and Funkoland was like one of the first places that had like the trade-ins, and they always had so many like diverse type of games that like because people weren't in it like for the money back then. They were just like trading in to get new games. So like you would find a lot of like hidden gems there. And
Yeah.
there weren't that many around, so, like, when you found it, like, it was very, like it felt like more unique experience
Right.
because you were able to find something that like, like GameStop at one point, there was one, like, every, 4 miles.
Yeah.
No there was no
Yeah.
difference between them, like, I feel like Funkoland, it was more, like, rare, like, people again, that was also, like, more of an experience, and Funkoland used to also do more, like, in-store type of things, like, they would have, like, tournaments and,
Yeah.
stuff like that, which made it, again, a little more of an experience,
Right.
because I feel like now with retail, that's what you have to do. Like, if you're gonna have a retail store as opposed to the online dominance right now, you have
Right.
to get an experience that like people are like, hey, if you don't go here, you don't get the experience that like
Right.
I could just because Amazon, I just do one click and everything's on. I mean, so
Right.
what are you gonna do to separate yourself from the competition, you know? And I feel like Toys R Us did that because like they would always have like in-store events. They would have like characters that would come. You know what I mean? Like your favorite cat, like for a launch of a game, they would have the character come to the store and
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like they would
Yeah.
have exclusive launches, you know what I mean? Like they would just do things that were different than the
Okay.
miss that, man. Like, I miss that. And I feel sad for my kids that they're not getting those experiences anymore as much. So yeah,
Right.
dude, because I feel like they gave in my area they gave experience. Um,
Okay.
and dude, there was nothing like when I was a kid. Like there was nothing like going into the wall of at Toys R Us. And like when that new game came out, and there were only so many tags, and you saw like the game for the tag that you wanted, and you were like, "Yes, they have it." And I pulled it out, and you felt like the Wonka gold ticket or something. It was an awesome experience. You're like, "Oh my god, they still have
You
this! Yeah,
still got it.
like, this is
Right.
awesome!" Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it just like I know it sounds so stupid, but like it was an experience. You know what I mean? I think that's what we're missing right now, and I feel like that's the biggest detriment of online shopping, whatever. Like, yeah, we get more convenience, but we're missing out on interactions with employees and other people, and like we're missing experiences, and that's sad to me.
Okay. Yeah, so this is it, guys. VG Mobster, man. It was
Yeah,
good chopping it up with you, man. Very interesting, man.
thank you.
Learn some things and wow, man, this was great, man.
Thanks for having me on, man. Anybody that's just checking this out, checking me out on Twitter at VG Mobster. My YouTube link is right on the top there, youtube.com/slash VG Mobster as well. Definitely looking forward to definitely got some really cool stuff coming with Master Sword music, full
Okay.
project from me, just myself. So that's gonna be like details coming out soon. So I'm super hyped for this
All right.
buddy that's been liking TJ's stuff. Like, he's producing some stuff on there for me. I got a lot of other producers doing stuff, and I'm really proud of it. I wanted to do a project that was focused on video games. I've never done that before, so
Okay.
really exciting, man. I'm doing a lot of different IPs in there that I'm mixing in and stuff. So it's gonna be cool.
Oh
So
man. Okay.
and then, like we were talking about throughout the stream, going back to content creation on YouTube, definitely when Switch 2 is like closer, definitely gonna be really ramping it up, and doing more stuff with Switch. I'm gonna be right on top of it, so I'm really excited to like collaborate with other creators and just ride the Switch 2 wave, man. I think it's gonna be real fun.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I'll go from then use that as a springboard for other stuff too. I mean, I game on a lot of other things, but use that as my to really come back and reconnect and re-collaborate with people and stuff. So that'll be real.
Okay. All right. Well, this is it, guys. Consecrated Seat with VG Mobster, guys. And I will be back next month with another Consecrated Seat. But thanks again, VG Mobster. I appreciate it, man.
Anytime,
All
brother. Take
right.
care,
Yep.
man.
Take care, man.